So is it walking? Yes, it is. Okay, let me get the chat up and running on my phone. Checking if the chat is appearing. Okay, should be. Welcome everyone to the 9th round of F1WL Season 7 in Belgium for this short qualifying session of 80 minutes and a 11 lap race as a 25% race due to the amount of drivers racing today. Hopefully this will be a tense race even though we have 4 drivers, but this is just tier 4. Of course, don't miss the races in tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. Tier 1 being at 8 PM today, and then tier 3 at 6 PM on Sunday, and tier 2 at 8 PM on Sunday as well. We got Apollo and David racing today in Ferrari, next 7 Rebel and Manchester in the Williams. So hopefully this weekend starts off with some nice action, hopefully. I would say, because last week in Hungary was filled with some nice action, but it's time to see if this weekend will be better or worse. As we have Manchester on an outlap right now, heading towards the start-finish straight to start the first lap of the session. And right now it hasn't even connected to the chat on Twitch, so I can't read your messages on Twitch. Let's go and see. So Manxie then busts up the chicane. He goes into the main straight, opens the IS and starts the first lap of the session. And by turn 1, works at the 100-meter board if I'm not mistaken. David still hasn't left the garage, so I guess he's gonna leave that later, unless he wants to do a last to first, which shouldn't be bad with 4 drivers. Rouge, Manxie goes. He opens the IS in the first, and actually, yes, the first one. The first DIS straight at the circuit. I was counting the last one. I was counting it as the last one, but the last one is actually before the finish line. As Apollo probably spun during his final lap, so he'll have to just try again. David on an out lap right now, Nexus starting his lap right now. Manchester, by the way, purple sector 1 for obvious reasons. He's the only one setting a lap right now. Apart from Apollo who spun and Nexo who started it right now. Manchester meanwhile Moving on to sector 2 now to finish. I'm in sector 2 as well. That's a 116.284 in sector 2. Goes on to these long straights, if I can call it straight, in sector 3. To head on to the bus stop chicane. And let's see what time he can set. Up to a 1:45.018. Current provisional pole position time. Up next we have Nexo. He's already young right now. Sector 2. Let's view the oh yeah, he's gone faster. Actually, yeah, he's gone a bit faster than Mangstray in sector 2, sector 1. Sector 2, I don't know, but he's about to end his lap as well as Apollo starts a new lap. And David starts his first one of the session. Bus stop chicane, bit of a lockup, probably a glitch, I don't know, it happens to me as well. But yeah, it's been open. Let's say 1:45.784, 7/10 of Mainstay. Probably lost it a lot in sector 3. David is on a lap right now, and Apollo spun once again. Probably will have to pit by this time, I guess. David aboard. Yeah, David invalidated. Only the two Ferraris missing, and then waiting the leaderboard right now. Currently, Manx review start first, but of course that depends only on whether the Ferraris will set better times. I do want to see if I can connect to the chat on Twitch so we can have some entertainment in the chat as well. And see if anyone wants to, predict any other teas this weekend. Manxley pits as David restarts his lap. Phone is about to die as well. By the way, I was saying the fact that Nexo locked up, I think it was a glitch because usually when you're driving you don't lock up, but on other people's point of view it does seem like you're locking up. So I don't know whether that's a glitch or it actually happens. David sets so 31.2, which eases the purple sector 1. I connected to the Twitch chat, by the way, so if you want to chat I'll be reading your comments. Apollo spun once again, and indeed he does. I see damages his all wing now. Not had the best day for Apollo. I see he resets the track in quali. I don't know whether that's a penalty or not, but he does reset the track in quali. But it will be up to the stewards to decide whether that's a penalty or not. But David in sector 2 now, about to start his time in sector 3. That's a 1:17.6 in sector 2. Let's see what he can do in this last sector. The speed is what the main requirement in this circuit. If you have speed, you should be fine. Onto the last stop chicane, which will tend to get some drivers to do a mistake in safety car restarts, mostly the leaders, because that chicane You usually forget about it, but it's there. And if you mess up your restart as a leader during the safety car, you may ruin your whole race. Because that chicane counts, and that will bring a lot of speed. If you start earlier, if you restart earlier, then you have to count that the speed the drivers get after they leave the chicane is much more. So you have to start way later than usual. Next, meanwhile, starts a new lap. As he said, a pole position 3. David, meanwhile, 146.875. And Nexo brings his time down to only 2/10 from Angstray. 2/10. As Apollo has a 2-minute 1:246 lap time. Which is not ideal and may want to improve that one. As Nexo looks to be on a new lap. From the looks of it, probably not. No, he's not. He's not. So then, currently only 4 drivers. We have Mengster leading right now in quali, Nexo in the Red Bull in second, David in third, and Apollo in fourth. Who would have thought the Ferraris would have been last in their qualifying session right now? And it's still tier 4, but still means something if you're gonna get promoted to tier 3 next season. Men wanted to give it your all, even if you're racing with only 4 people. As Mengster now leaves the pits to go on to a new outlap and start a new lap apparently, as well as Apollo. So we're going on board with both, but first with Apollo, as he will be first to start a lap. And I guess Nexo and David will go out later. No, he has to start way later because the amount of gas you burn down this third sector and in the first sector as well is a lot. And a lot is not enough saying a lot, but you have no idea how much you burn. If you keep burning it, you just waste it all. It's important, by the way, that you save it. Now, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but most people don't realize, and I often see most people having like 0% GIS just because they burnt it all. You have to save it, especially in tracks like this. Of course, you will be slower, but you will be faster in the later because others will have none and you'll have a lot. So it's tactics, it's strategy you have to think on. Anyway, Apollo starts a new lap as Nexo and David go both go on an out lap. Maxwell start a new lap as well. As he goes up into Rouge now. And Apollo with a purple sector 1. Ferrari's now lighting up, I guess. On to sector 2 then. Maxwell will find traffic ahead of the Red Bull of Nexo. Apollo has cleaner. Goes into Radion. See if he can beat Mengstray in what is a fight for a literal pole position here. He spins. That's like the 5th spin he's done today. I feel bad for him. Mengstray coming up though, and he will find the Ferrari of Apollo up next. Hopefully he doesn't spin as well. He doesn't. But for now, I don't know what to jinx people, but he sets a purple sector 2, gets slipstream off the Ferrari of Apollo, thanking him for that nice slipstream. Down to the last portion of his lap. Sub chicane approaching. Gets it correct. As he opens DRS into the last run to the finish line, and he sets a 144.834, goes down below a 145. David, oh, that's a at the moment there. David then decides to crash himself out as he invalidated his lap once again, and he will start third unless his teammate improves his lap. That would mean he will start fourth in Belgium. I do not know if it's allowed to crash yourself out, as I've seen. I so didn't like it last week, but I'm not the FIA, so it's up to the FIA whether it is or not. As Nexo then proceeds to go on to he's on a flying lap. He set up of sector 1 right after Apollo did, so those two are in contention here for a potential pole position. Depends on what time they set in sector 2 and 3. Now, Nexo is leading. This is a sort of time trial race, one shot qualifying session for both of those. Let's see. Sector 2 approaching the end of sector 2. 116.3, that's a power for sector 2. 116.6, and that means 3/10 up. Apollo though spins again. 6th win of the day for this Ferrari driver, who will probably start 4th at this point. Well, who knows. Nexo locking up, and yes, we're opened to claim 2nd place. 145.413 goes down to 4/10. 4/10. $0.06, my bad. Polo proceeds to start a new one. He did set the 150.4 now, so he did improve. But he's spun again. Oh, apparently David controller turned off. Controller turned off and sent to the wall. That almost happened to me in Britain once. I swear, my controller turned off. I have to like recharge it. And that's why I just have the recharge on every time now. I can't put the recharge off. And he was about to go into the barriers at Maggots and Beckett's in Silverstone. Hopefully the menu came up and the AI took over. Otherwise we would have gone straight into a circle as I was about to leave Maggots and Beckett's. We would have gone straight into the barriers otherwise. This did not go well for David, apparently. Apollo then finishing his session in 4th place, with Nexo in 2nd. Magstray claiming the pole position after doing absolutely just kidding, absolutely nothing. But and David then in 3rd. Now it's about to see whether the race style will be chaotic as always or not. Can Magstray keep the lead, or will Nexo already hunt him down in turn 1. We're about to see shortly. Results of quality then showing up right now. With Apollo 5 seconds off, Mangster David 2 seconds off, Mangster and Nexo 5/10. So about to be about 6/10, but yeah. Alright, here we are. 25% race should be an easy strategy to get right. Because there is only one passes in this circuit. And it's not the usual. I'll leave it to you to guess which is the fastest, which you're gonna see by this race. Not really, because it's just a 25%, but formation lap gets underway now. So Mangster leading, followed by Nexo, David and Apollo. The two Ferrari starting from the back after having not that good of a qualifying session, but they can technically make it up in the race. Now as Apollo apparently starting on mediums, David and Nexo and Mangster starting on softs. So Apollo may have an amazing start here. Not saying why, but you should get it by now. However, this is a 25% race, so the strategies, the tire performance may still change, so it's not obvious. Just judging a 25% race. 50% races, of course, will be way different than this one. The tire performance, of course, isn't the same because the distance is reduced. But still, nice to know. So we'll see if Ferrari will have some team orders today, as they're basically in the same row, the second row. It's about to reach the starting rate then to start this race of 11 laps, which will end quite early unless there's a safety car, which I doubt, because that will mean we'll have only 3 drivers remaining. Or 4, depending on why it gets deployed. But Mangster then approaching the grid, which in this used game you have to actually park your car onto the grid slot. I think we all know that now. It's better to remind people who may be new, even though I don't know if anyone is actually new. David then getting a good parking spot, and now we go for this 11 lap race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relights in this tier 4 race of 11 laps. Lights out and away we go. Mangster gets a great start. The two Ferraris getting a great start. Red Bull of Nexo having an horrendous start there, as David goes on the outside of Mangster, collides with Mangster. Apollo claims the second place. No, he has to stay behind for now, but he wants to place on David as he has to wait, as there's Uruj coming up. But the Rebel of Nexo up close behind, he wants that place. Everyone burning down all the EIS they got right now, and straight line speed is so important here as the Red Bull claims all this slipstream the Ferrari ahead has. But he has to stay behind for the moment being. Imagine G1 restart, how that will be if this is already, if I'm already going crazy with this one. But the order did change a bit as Nexo is now 4th because he had I don't know what happened to with the Red Bull there, but the two Ferraris just ate him alive there. And Nexo now is building a 1.5 second gap to the rest of the pack, which Davey may want to close up as soon as possible, because the more he extends that gap, the worse it is, as there are pit stops to be made sooner than later. And it looks like Apollo does want the place, and David does give him the place, and he makes contact with Nexo in the process. Nexo now has side pod damage on the right side. He's trying to send it, but he can't. He now has to deal with damage, but he pits as he can't deal with it. Nexo now sets the provisional fastest lap of the race, 151.1115. Poor race from poor race start for Nexo. I think there will be some discussion between him and Davey. Davey trying to let Apollo pass, and in the meantime, Nexo coming in at a high speed, because that's a high speed section. And Davey didn't realize that, and he gave Nexo damage. Now going on to the mediums, which I doubt they will last until lap 11, but we'll see. You will have to manage them for sure. But now, unless something happens, I will catch up. Unless there's like traffic, which holds everyone up. That's the only reason I could think of. There's also pit stops to be done, but still 27 seconds behind the whole pack. Hopefully he can catch up. Actually, it's already burnt all his EIS. He still has some EIS to use, but as I said, it's really important to save the EIS in this track, because you're gonna have a lot in case you need to battle. Just like Apollo right now, 83% of EIS remaining. For David, 60%. So let's say Apollo and Nexo currently are the ones with most EIS battle, because Nexo has 28 seconds to the rest of the pack. The only threat to Nexo right now is Apollo, as he's closing behind the Williams driver. As long as Nexo manages to keep the gap below, actually above 1 second, that should be good enough for him, as he sets at 147.822 now. Apollo, fastest lap, provisional fastest lap of this Grand Prix. Yeah, it's enabled, which Apollo won't be able to use right now, as he's above 1 second. So 1.2 seconds to go. It's already lap 3, by the way. Good, because the ice got enabled, so couldn't have otherwise. Got now only 1.1 second as it goes down and down and down. Nexo, I think obviously it isn't the same overtaking and catching up. If you catch up, you'll have to overtake them, but as I said previously, in 25% races, looks like the softs do wear out as well as the mediums. But there's only one tire which overcomes the other. You can see it right now, depending on the gap, which is going down for Apollo. Nexo needs to work on that, because soon enough, Apollo will have the IS and the Williams driver ahead. If Nexo manages to skip this gap, he will probably be able to stay ahead for the remaining of the race, even with the pit stop, because other could probably more efficient on this game. Depends on the track, I guess. Meanwhile, Apollo sets the purple sector 3. Still has the fastest lap anyway. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He almost gets below a second on Mankster, but still doesn't have DRS. He has to get below a second before the DRS detection zone, which on the minimap is the green circle. On the track, it's just a white line. There are many white lines, but you can notice it because it is before the DRS straight. 4/10 between Mankster and Apollo right now. And Mankster now will have to defend hard if he wants to keep that win and win today in Tier 4. The gap between Apollo and David, meanwhile, 4 seconds to let you know how Apollo has been pushing. He's used 10% of his DRS to catch up to Mankster this much. And he will now, Mankster with 6% DRS, he will now have to defend this first place if he wants to keep the win later on. Apollo going on the inside, now outside as Mankster kinda could in front of him. He already pits. Because of course it's 25% race, so no wonder he pits right now, as well as David. So Mankster tries the actually overcut, just by a few tenths overcut, and as well as David. So now we're left with Apollo, who has to pit, and depending on when he will pit, he will either come ahead or behind Mankster. As Nexo spun at the bus stop chicane, that doesn't help him in catching those 3 up. Now David trying to follow, chase Mankster down with the 5-second gap he's got on his shoulders. Now probably Mankster waiting for Apollo to pit. He can't do anything other than catching up to him with fresher tyres. And Apollo has to think now, because he will surely be behind at this moment, unless Mankster does some sort of mistake. But that's something Apollo can do, or Davey can do, or Nexo can do as well. So depends. Here it depends really on when Apollo pits. Who will win today? Mankster, Nexo, David. Even Nexo can win, you know. It really depends. Apollo stays out. As a lap 6, he stays out. He needs to make the soft laps because. So we'll see when he will pit. Mankster waiting right now. Gap is now 17.6 as we speak. And David, the gap to David now increased. Mankster pole sector 3 as the gap goes down and down. Now onto Apollo, who has to pit soon, because the more time passes by, the worse it will be for Apollo to catch him up again. He's probably going for a fastest lap as well at this point, catching up Nexo Apollo. It's also true the fact that Apollo will be on softs and will be able to catch Mankster, but that's another story. pole sector 2 then, and I think at this point it's pretty obvious that Manchester will claim the fastest lap and then Apollo will, because he will be on soft, so Apollo will probably be the fastest lap holder for this race unless something happens. But Apollo stays out for one more lap. I think he could technically start pitting by now. It depends though. The more he stays out, the better it is for him. But the worse it will be at the when he pits. Spankshays claims the fastest lap then, as I said. Not say 147.747, not too far off Apollo's fastest lap time, just by a few tenths. He claimed that fastest lap. The gap is now only 17 seconds to Apollo. David, as you can see, he burned down all he is EIS already to catch up to Mangstay, and he's still 8 seconds behind. He was 5 before. He was 5 seconds before. Just so you can see how Mangstay's been pushing for that win right now. Missing Hungary last week. Now he wants redemption. Solid redemption. But he missed last week, so he probably wants this win at all costs. Oh, David spun. David spun at Radion. Doesn't help him at all as Nexo catches up. Closes the gap. Luckily, he's already out of trouble, but 9 seconds Nexo now. 7 seconds. 7 seconds. The David's tires probably won't help with the tire wear of David's tires won't help here. We'll see. Even though Nexo has worse tires, but still depends on how bad the spin was for David. Apollo stays out again, and the gap is closing down rapidly. Each lap that passes by is a heart attack for Apollo, probably. Seeing the gap go down slowly, but he probably knows he can catch up if he stays out long enough. Well, we'll see. And his pit window is open right now, so he can pit anytime now. That's what his telemetry says at the end of the day. So let's see. Polo is about to catch onto the start-finish straight once again. And he does go in now. He does go in now. Now it's crucial to see whether he will lose or gain time in this pit stop. He will probably... I don't know if Mengster will manage to come ahead. He probably, yes, will. Goes on softs. Leaves the pit garage. Right now, this will be close. Mengster comes ahead, but the pit exit here goes right on the straight as Mengster goes by. Just by a few seconds, he goes by. Polo is now 3 seconds behind. He technically has enough time to catch up. Manages to heat up the tires. Oh no! Oh well, that changes the point of view a lot now. Apollo, I was about to forget about track limits, but Apollo has a penalty of 3 seconds. And David only 2 warnings. Nexo 1 or 2 depending on whether he's got 1 at the start for colliding with someone, probably, yeah. But he's got... Nexo got 1, David got 2. This means that Apollo, if he has a 3-second penalty, means that Mansell will still win this race. But Apollo, right now, he will keep the second place because he may as well finish fourth if he spins or if he does any mistake. Right now, though, he may want to look at like overtaking him, perhaps being 3 seconds ahead. Who knows? After all, Mansell tires are used and his tires are fresh, so he can use that to his advantage. He knows he doesn't have that much of time though. Not lap 9 out of 11, only 3 laps to do all this. Let's see. 2.8, 2.7 the gap now between him and Mansell. Goes down and down and down. Apollo right now has to do one thing: overtake Mansell and get 3 seconds ahead. But Mansell could fight that back, as he used all his EIS right now to get to a gap of 1.8 seconds. As David, his teammate, gets a 3-second penalty now as well, meaning Mansell could use that to his advantage to gain 4 seconds and get below 3 seconds to get that podium today after the horrible start he's had. Wouldn't be a bad idea for him. Sorry. He does gain using the EIS down this sector 3 straight, which is powerful with the EIS. As you can see, 1.3 seconds between him and Mansell. But will it be enough still? He hasn't overtook him yet. And it's the last lap of this race. Apollo does set the fastest lap, 1:6.533. At least he will gain 19 points instead of 18. But it's Mansell who will gain right now 25. He doesn't have the eyes to Mansell yet. He's now below 10% as well. Trying to do the impossible here. This is a few tenths behind the Williams driver. Trying to get that win as he's probably desperate for it. And he spins! Oh no! Oh no! What? That was the commentator's curse at its finest. I'm sorry, Apollo. But I didn't even say anything about him, did I? I didn't say anything about which could cause some sort of curse, but that means David is now in second and Nexo is in third. My god, crash that was. As Spain can ruin your whole race, as we can see. Mansell, I guess, can breathe normally now as he goes on to claim a pole sector 2. He's doing a fastest lap right now. And I think after this 11 lap race, it was pretty fun despite the boring part, but Mansell crosses the line to finish first and claim the win of the 9th round of F1WL Season 7 in Tier 4. With no fastest lap, but still a good race. Fastest lap goes to Apollo, which despite his DNF, he will still get 13 points. was a bad crash for Apollo. I feel bad for him. Could have had he could have probably had a win if Manchester did some sort of mistake. At the end, he didn't. He could have been Manchester doing a mistake and not Apollo, but guess that's how league racing goes. But I guess this means Manchester goes further up in the standings now, which I don't know if they have been updated after Hungary. I think only tier 1 ones. Tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 haven't. So. But look at that. Mercedes Academy. It's a Williams, so still Mercedes Academy. Ferrari and Red Bull. Reminds me of something we'll see next year, hopefully. Besides, that's, I guess, the end of tier 4 Belgian Grand Prix. Waiting for the results to show up. Oh, okay. Guess what? I didn't even have a chance to see the results. Hopefully David screenshot them, because I haven't had a chance to see them at all. Because this game, we all love this game, right? Anyway, thank you everyone for watching this tier 4 Grand Prix. If you want to not to miss the action in other tiers, this one's not the only race we have this weekend. We also have tier 1 today at 8 PM, so like in 1 hour, more or less. So guess see you all there. I'll probably be commentating with SD Cree if I'm not mistaken. If not, there will be another one commentating on Sunday 6 PM for tier 3, where I'll be driving, and probably tier 2 as well. Depends on whether we have someone racing in tier 2 or not. But tier 3 at 6 PM, tier 2 at 8 PM on Sunday. After that, the weekend will be over once again to head onto let me check. To head on to Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix, home race of some people in F1WL. But that's it for tier 4 then. Today, thank you everyone for watching. See you all at 8 PM for tier 1, same track, but a 22 lap race, 50% race. Bye for now, everyone.